Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the NFT Morning Show. If it is your first time listening, we run the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time each and every week, where we discuss all things NFTs, crypto, technology, entertainment, gaming, finance, and everything in between. I'm your host, Pio, here with a badass squad of fellow co-hosts and panelists that we have on every single day. All-star team. Warming up with King Kicks, the CEO of Crypto Raiders. Cyber Stadium is kicking ass. What's that prize pool up to, Kicks?
235K.
235K, 100% goes to the players. Love to hear it. I see it gaining popularity. I see different, big name people talking about it. So I love to see the action that you're getting there. Easy, the host of GM Market Talk, the dog behind Bodoggos, soon to be the #1 collection on a blockchain near you. Signal, seems like we might be having some connections issues on the YouTube, but she's here on the Twitter stage. She's a coder turned content creator, the artist spotlight host. We love hearing her sophisticated takes on the NFT market. Of course, Clemente, producer extraordinaire behind the scenes, would not be able to do the show without him. And last but not least, we have Bunny. Bunny, your bio just says that you need to do your taxes.
Yeah, when's the last day for that?
Very funny, Bunny. Why don't you just file for an extension?
I did. Yeah, I got that in at the last second yesterday.
Very nice. How you doing otherwise, Bunny?
I don't know, man. I'm coping. I didn't get Pepe. I didn't get Bobo or BB or Cope, Wojak. Well, I think there was a couple Wojaks that mooned.
Why don't you list off all your life failures while you're at it?
I'll do it for him. I'll do it for him. No ape for 500K. Didn't sell a dog for 50K. Bag held as mutants. Watched ApeCoin touch 30, only to go back to 5. There's a central pattern here if you haven't realized.
Bunny, do you trade altcoins though? Is that something that you would do?
Every once in a while, I'll dabble.
Bunny, next time I get a hot tip, I'm gonna shoot you a DM. Okay, I got a hot tip last week. It was
from the Sauna guy.
No, Sauna guy has some. I'll send you his hot tips as well. His actual real life name is Chad. By the way, I'm not even making that up. It's literally Chad. He has a bunch. He recommended like 2 absolute shit coins and then 1 like medical stock. Loves his medical stock. My other guy, he's like a big like hex guy and stuff like that. He got me on Zen. So I'll hit you next time I get. Ooh, I got one. I'll send it to you. Okay.
Yeah. I made a little bit off of that World Cup Inu, which was the one Ronaldinho got in trouble for promoting improperly.
Bunny, are you eating like apple cinnamon oatmeal or something right now? Like what is going on over there?
It's a Reese's peanut butter cup. Well, they're actually Gertrude Hawk. But I feel like we just call them,
Yeah, so you're just eating candy.
Yeah, I guess that's
ladies and gentlemen, we have Spencer joining the show as well. Love having Spencer on the Twitter stage. I don't know if he'll be available for the YouTube show. Spencer, of course, the founder of very, very strong performance NFT fund, Spencer Ventures. Love having Spencer on the show. Spencer, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing really good, Pio. How are you doing?
I'm good. You sound great. Are you on the move? Is that why you're not on the YouTube show? What's going on?
No, I'm pulling up. I'm making moves. That's what I'm doing. I'm pulling up the streaming stuff right now. I'm gonna be on there in a couple of moments. You ain't even ready for me though yet. Are you ready for me on the YouTube show?
I don't know if I am, because I feel like you're going to be dripped head to toe in some sort of like really fly merch. We'll have to see. Love having Spencer on the show. We love hearing his sophisticated takes. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to discuss Trump Cards Round 2. That came out of the blue yesterday. Spencer actually called out that he was going to do that weeks ago. I think we all knew it was going to come. I don't think we knew it was going to come like that, and I didn't know that he was going to bring out the heavy artillery. In other words, multiple social media posts when he had not posted in months. Gotta love it. The guy will sell stuff out. So that was a 47,000 supply season 2 trading cards that obviously caused season 1 trading cards to aggressively dump. So you have to talk about that. Beyond that, SEC Chairman Gary Gensler's congressional hearing definitely needs to be discussed. The clips went viral on crypto Twitter, and if you watch them, they are pretty absurd. And last but not least, we have to discuss whether or not we have a new NFT marketplace leader. I was about to throw or shout out our sponsor, and I will in just a second, but NFT Nick is on stage and actually raised his hand. Nick, did you have something on your mind?
Oh, God.
I just wanted to say I'm a proud PEPE maxi at this point in time.
Are you?
God. Sell. Everyone sell. Sell.
You did not buy in.
I did yesterday, actually.
How much? Quarter ETH?
A little bit less, but I'm up big time here, man. I think this is my retirement fund here.
Are you actually up?
I am up.
Very nice. Shout out to Nick. Congrats for being up, Nick. Nick, chime in anytime you want during the show.
That's all I just wanted to say is, man, I'm a big PEPE maxi here, man. I think this is the future of crypto.
Okay, but in all seriousness, chime in anytime. Anyway, ladies.
No, I appreciate it. I just want you to know that I'm a real big PEPE maxi.
When did you enter PEPE? What price?
I don't want to say because it doesn't matter.
Because it's been trending down ever since you joined the stage. It's literally been heading down.
I got it yesterday, okay?
We're retesting yesterday's highs, so I hope we're so fucked.
All right. Well, Nick's in PEPE, ladies and gentlemen. You know what that means. Anyway, today's show, ladies and gentlemen, is sponsored by Bicycle Playing Cards. I guarantee you know this brand if you've ever played cards before. And it's specifically sponsored by their Bored Ape activation, the 1227 casting call. So this is officially the most historic brand to ape in because Bicycle Cards is actually a 138-year-old brand. And they joined the Bored Ape Yacht Club community in 2022 with the purchase of Ape 1227. And they're returning this year with plans to create a deck of cards featuring apes from across the community. I mean, it's a first of its kind collaboration, getting the community involved. So last month, they opened a live casting call for all Bored Ape holders. And we have the privilege of revealing their roster of selected partner apes live today on, I did not know this, but today is National Banana Day. So all you apes out there, you got to know that today is National Banana Day. So the IDs of the Bored Apes that have won, I mean, if I could get a drum roll here, hold on 1 second. I got you right here with a little bit of a drum roll. The Bored Apes that won, 7016, 3124, 3049, 9109, 4077, and 7263. Those are the Bored Apes that are going to be featured in this collab, and we'll have more to discuss later in the show. But again, shout out to Bicycle Cards.
Those are great numbers.
Those are the apes, baby. Those are the apes.
Every single one.
Well, I'm sure the apes that have been told to listen are pretty thrilled that they got their numbers. I noticed that Nick's former apes number was not called out, wasn't handsome enough to get into the collab
before, and that's why I sold my ape, dude. I'm tired of this nonsense, man. I don't get selected for anything.
We'll have a link to the collab pinned to the top, so check it out. Again, shout out to the 138-year-old OG of all OG brands, Bicycle Cards, for sponsoring today's show. We'll mention them a couple more times throughout the show. Anyway, Kicks. The weather report, please.
You got it, sir. Changing it up a little bit today. Welcome. Today is Wednesday, the 19th of April, 2023. Total market volume coming in, $40.2 million. Blur, 25.6. Opensea, 9.7 million. Looking over at the leaders today, we got Apes at 52, Mutants at 12, Punks 53.7. Azuki still looking strong, close to 16 ETH. D-God 7.6, dropping a little bit. Captain 6.6, dropping a little bit. Pudgy's 3.8, trying to find a floor. Moonbird's 3.1, can't move up over the past 24 hours. Other side updated holders that you will need at least a Coda Mara, or a vessel to play the game. One of those four. Vessels will be nested on the deeds, and enchanted Maras will have a special role to be revealed later. Other deed expanded holding 0.87. I just feel like I read a different language there. Check your Opensea Genesis. The collection updated metadata to reveal rarer traits for early users of the platform. The top 1% have a special diamond visual, but more importantly, the floor on those rares is 0.4 compared to 0.03 for the common. So that's like a 12x difference. So if you were early, you should check that out. One of Bored Ape's biggest whales, Franklin is Bored, deactivated his Twitter account after mounting some huge losses. Franklin sold almost all of his apes, and his last tweet spoke of being scammed by NFT Jorge for 155,000 ELAN tokens. What the fuck? Lastly, Moonbird's Diamond X airdrop to Moonbirds with day one nesting status. Passes allow holders to submit their ranked preferences for the 22 artists that you can choose from. Passes have been live for about 2 hours and are trading at 0.37. Quickly looking over at crypto. Bitcoin, 29.5K. ETH, busting below 2,000. Solana, 23. 84.3. A little bit of a dump overnight. Back to you in the studio.
Fantastic weather report as usual, Kicks. Moving on to some of the stories from the Nifty Daily Digest. You can subscribe at thenifty.com. You're also going to need to have an account there to be able to claim today's free NFT, which is inspired by our sponsor, Bicycle Card. So make sure, and the art's incredibly dope for today, if I do say so myself. So make sure that you sign up at thenifty.com. You'll also get this newsletter 5 days a week. As we talked about already, Trump's 47,000 Season 2 digital trading cards sold out in under 6 hours at $100 each. It's a faster sellout than Season 1. Another $4.7 million in the bank for the Trump Corporation or whatever shell company they've set up for this Season 2. It should be noted that Season 1's floor price collapsed by 70% after the surprise announcement. During his congressional hearing, SEC Chairman Gary Gensler refused to answer whether Ethereum was a security, claiming that cryptocurrency issues stem from a lack of compliance rather than regulatory clarity. Azuki has once again reached a floor price of $35,000, which is the highest United States dollar value since the collapse in May 2022. So about 1 year later, they are back to where they were. Ahead of their April 20th, 420 contract migration, Quirkies and Quirklings metadata has been updated, and marketplace trading for both collections is disabled until then. Hadn't heard of those collections in quite a long time. Got to wonder if they're still relevant. Last but not least, Opensea recorded 4,160 Ethereum in trading on Monday, marking their lowest daily Ethereum volume since July 2021. I know Spencer's got some opinions about that. If there's one thing that I know that he's got something to say there. Those are your newsletter stories. Nick, you have your hand raised. What's going on?
Dude, I can't even remember what the thing was. I was gonna say, I was literally just struggling. I was like, what was the thing? Oh, I remember what it was. Dude, I think it's time that we make the announcement.
What's the announcement?
The announcement about which platform we're moving the show to.
Please make the announcement.
We're officially transitioning this whole show over to this new platform called Bluesky. Starting what day of the week is it? We'll say Friday. We'll start moving the whole thing over to Bluesky because it's pretty clear that Twitter is dead and no one gives a shit about this platform anymore.
I think you're right. I mean, people are in my DMs telling me I gotta join Bluesky. It's so necessary for me to join Bluesky. What even is it, Nick? You're a social media guy. What even is it?
I feel like it's another one like Mastodon is the one is the like another Twitter alternative. This one seems to be going more viral though because there's influencers who are on Bluesky. It's pretty funny though. You got a tweet. I saw Spencer, you tweeting saying, follow me on Bluesky on Twitter, which is hilarious because it's like this like funny dynamic where it's like you can't follow anyone on there if you don't have it. The only way to get on there is if you have an invite. But like the problem is, why am I going to go rebuild my entire audience on Blue Sky right now?
I'll tell you, Nick, you know, here's the reason you got to do it. It's because I wasn't early enough to Twitter to have a cool Twitter at, but I am early enough on Blue Sky to have a cool Blue Sky at.
Do you have Spencer?
No, not that cool. I wasn't that early. I have Sand.
Okay, that's pretty good though. That might be better than Spencer. I mean, sure, there's a lot of Spencers out there, but Sand is just a good word.
Nickname. You could build a brand around that.
Yeah, I know. You know that I almost had Sand.eth. Like I looked at it and I was gonna register it. I was like, I don't know. 4 letters are really expensive to register. Let me register like SG Sand.
Oh.
What's your username on the nifty.com though? That's the real question that people are asking.
That's Spencer.
Yeah.
You got Spencer.
Yeah.
How did you pull that off, dude?
The rumor that I know the guys who made it, so
he figured it out, Nick.
That's crazy, man.
Live on the show one day when we were recording.
I got at Nick on the nifty.com, so I'm pretty excited about that as well. Never mind the fact that I was on there before anyone registered.
Nice, Nick. That's crazy. Anything else, Nick?
No, that was it. I just thought people should know that we're now all exclusively moving to Blue Sky.
Okay. I love how Nick gets a kick out of Blue Sky and new social media platforms. It is funny that you got to get an invite from Twitter and everybody's posting about it on Twitter. We'll see if it sticks. As I mentioned it, if you have an invite to Blue Sky, DM it to me. Anyway, Trump Cards Season 2. 47,000 cards sold out in 6 hours for $100 each. This is, of course, ladies and gentlemen, the NFT Morning Show. We run it Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time each and every week. It is also available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, if you want to share it with people from outside of the Twitter echo chamber. But yeah, easy. Have you been paying attention to the action on the Trump cards? It seems like they haven't been as parabolic as the first season.
Well, I think it's just because like now there's 90,000 of these things, which is a lot,
Yeah,
especially considering, you know, like considering there's probably less than 9,000 participants. What's even funnier though is like on the timeline yesterday, people were like, "Great, bought these on a credit card, and I don't have access to the wallet." And you know that meme where the two guys are like about to die, and the one looks over and he's like, "First time."
Yeah,
that's exactly how it felt because that was the exact thing I went through when I bought them, and I was freaking out for like 6 hours because they were flying, and I couldn't access the wallet. Granted, if I just let them sit in there for 2 months, it would have paid much nicer. But these ones are like even more ridiculous. Like Trump in space punching Trump coins. This is my favorite one, dude.
Easy. Also, they like rolled back his age by like 30 years on these. Like if you look at him,
they took care of the guy.
Like he looks like he's 39 in them. Like he must have told him like I look a little too old in the first one. Like
there's a few too many wrinkles. Let's clean it up, okay? And that one, that is absolute gold. Like the Sam one is just hilarious, dude. But the thing is, there's been sales.
The rares are funnier this time around, dude.
Way funnier.
My favorite though is if you go to the one of ones, they clearly ran out of like actual one of ones.
And what do they do?
Repeats. There's repeats.
There's repeats. There's like tons of repeats in the one.
So it says, Spencer, did you read the website? It says on there, not all cards are unique.
Wow.
Like in bold letters. It's just like, yeah, not all cards are unique. If you bought 100, you were guaranteed a one of one. So basically you spend 10 grand. You probably sell it for like
unique.
No, yeah, well, that's the thing is Trump's like revolutionary even the vernacular of NFTs. Like 1 out of ones aren't like 1 out of ones to him. Like he means like a 1 out of one is more unique. You know, he's kind of
are truly spectacular. These are like this is the thing is, you know, we're seeing PEPE pump, and I think like the thing about Trump cards to me is like this is a top tier shitcoin with a picture.
Yeah,
like you know what? Like there's a lot of people who are like, oh, like you know, NFTs are just altcoins with pictures, and whoever made this like really embraced that. He's like, imagine if every Dogecoin had an image associated with it. I imagine the quality of that image would be on par with this collection.
Yeah, imagine if every Dogecoin had a picture of Donald Trump with it, and then we'd really be talking. I mean, look, this feels more legit. That's so funny, ladies and gentlemen. We have it pulled up on the YouTube. It's just go look at the collection. Go look at Trump Digital Trading Cards Series 2. It is very funny.
But Pio, you and I were there for his first one.
Oh yeah.
And if you remember, his first one dropped over. It took a while to sell out, right?
It was like 16. It took 16 hours. This one sold out in about 4. I remember I bought 5 of them on a YouTube stream with credit card just to like participate. And I was like, am I really about to buy these fucking things? And these ones flew. Like they were very slow for the first hour. They sold about 1,700. And then hours 2 through 4, you were getting 10K sales an hour. Like these things were just cooking.
And that's the big difference to me is that this happens a lot in NFTs in general. It's like the first move, right? Like isn't really known and there's much bigger arbitrage opportunity. The second one, right? I think there's a ton more flippers in this second one, right? I think the first one had a lot more organic Trump buyers because they had a longer period of time to buy. They had 16 whole hours to get to the website, pull out their credit card and everything. With this one, I think it was a ton of Web3 flippers just aping in, minting 120 and just flooring the heck out of them. So if you look at the floor right now, it's 10% fees. You're only making about a 10% profit. Yesterday, after it sold out, you had an opportunity to make anywhere between 35 and 50% profit. After
for a brief period, right?
Yeah. But like the volume was insane. Like, no, I'm not even joking. If you had minted 200 of them, you could have cleared all 200 of them over 3 hours at like a 30% premium. But yeah, I mean, now it's closer to floor price. I think that obviously his original collection absolutely tanked. It went from like a 0.4 ETH floor all the way down to 0.10, like rallied when the Series 2 was rallying back up to 0.18. Now I'm assuming, I haven't checked, it's down a little bit right now. So, but like, here's the thing, dude, like you can't really be surprised that this happened. As you said earlier, Pio, Spencer kind of said a couple of weeks ago this was probably going to happen. Like Web3 owners understand dilution and stuff like that, right? Like people like Donald Trump coming, they're going to be like, hey, everyone that minted this is up massive, so I'm going to mint some more. You know what I mean? Like I think that you're going to see more of that in the future. So like when you're thinking about long-term holds and stuff like that, you have to understand that like certain people aren't going to subscribe to the Web3 ethos that like don't dilute supply, or you got to airdrop to all the V1 holders or whatever. Like there's going to be other types of strategies like this where they're like, hey, floor price is up like 8x. We're going to go mint another 47,000 of these things.
Yeah, I don't think he cares about the floor price being up. I think he just cared about selling more NFTs. If I recap the first season versus the second season for myself, the difference is the first season I tried to buy on the website, both with a credit card and a crypto wallet, because I figured that they were going to pump because it was like a first of its kind thing. And obviously he's got a massive fan base, and I wasn't able to because the website was so janky. So I swept the floor on the secondary because you could do that. Like the Polygon bridge wasn't crowded. The gas wasn't high, and it took all day to sell out. I know you had bought like 47 of them, Kicks. Very smart move. And so I just swept the floor on the secondary. And the reason I did was because before it sold out, the volume was going crazy on the secondary. It was every minute sales on the secondary. And then yesterday with these ones, the same thing happened again. Once people confirmed it was real, blah, 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 the same thing happened. And the same thing happened to me again. I went to the website. I tried to buy with crypto. I tried to buy. Well, I didn't have Polygon. I didn't have Matic on Polygon, so I wasn't going to be able to buy with crypto. Regardless, I tried connecting my wallet and it wouldn't let me. So it didn't work for me that way again. And I couldn't get it to work with credit card again. And then gas was pumping or gas was really high. So I couldn't bridge money over to Polygon. So just a mess. Couldn't do it. We can move on. But last question. Do we think that there will be a season 3 Trump cards?
100%. Next question. If he runs and gets the nomination, you will absolutely see an election edition drop. Like 1,000%.
Well, it's also like you got to think too who he really cares about in this whole ecosystem. And the person he really cares about is the person who minted with a credit card into a wallet that probably doesn't have gas and like is just a collector of his and he knows will never sell. And so the maximization principle isn't like the secondary buyers, how much are they up? But the maximization principle for Trump really is his core fans. Like look at the scenario we're in. Everyone who minted season 1 is up. Everyone who minted season 2 is also up. That's a win in his book, right? And this is one of the things that's like interesting is, we've talked a lot about, like, I think that there is an interesting play around Trump cards for like, will they move as proxy exposure to his like election polling numbers, right? I think in general they should, but they may not now that the market will price in a risk of there just being additional dilution. And like, I don't even think, I agree. I don't think this is a risk. This is like almost a near certainty that he will continue to dilute. And so, big question. But like, even to someone as wealthy as Donald Trump, $4 million in whatever unit of time this took is a great trade, right? Like,
yeah,
straight to the face. Oof, that's incredible.
I mean, you're snapping your fingers and making $4.5 million, like almost on command. When did the first ones come out? 2.5 months ago? November. Okay, so 6 months ago.
6 months about. Yeah.
Damn,
that's crazy.
That feels like way more recently than 6. Man. Damn. Wow. Okay, Nick, you have your hand raised. Any closing thoughts?
Spencer's wording around it was like, Trump is spending a lot of time considering NFT supply strategy, basically. I don't think he spends an absolute second thinking about it. And the only thing that happens is he has a team that's essentially licensing his name, which is how he's operated for a very long time. And that team is saying, we're going to exploit the shit out of this. And he's going to be happy because he keeps getting a check. But I don't think he's spending any time whatsoever thinking about this.
Well, I don't know. Just wait till he's going to announce a crazy burn mechanic. Just wait.
I think he's happy he got a check, but I'm sure he loves seeing himself as a superhero on all these cards. I mean, man, look at the guy.
How many do you think Trump owns, Spencer?
The team has got it. The team bought 1,000 yesterday. They minted the first 1K.
Did they?
Yeah, so they released 46,000. There's 47,000 supply. So I can't wait till the burn mechanic, like Kick says, goes live, where 1 burn equals 1 vote for Trump, and we're gonna see a wild supply to just absolutely get eliminated. It's gonna be better than Washington, better than Lincoln.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at an Instagram post from him where he posted about it. It really is surreal to see him posting about it. Also, I can't wait to see the YouTube comments on this one and the Twitter comments for that matter, because anytime you talk about Trump, you definitely get a squad coming out with the comments. Anyway, moving on. Opensea versus Blur. Is there now a clear number 1? And does it begin with a B? On Monday, as we discussed earlier, Opensea recorded 4,160 Ethereum in volume, the lowest since July 2021. That same day, Blur recorded 12,500 Ethereum in volume. Damn, a 3x. If you go to Opensea now for collections, you'll notice a thinner, higher floor compared to Blur. And with large farmers Franklin and Machi no longer participating in Blur rewards, the quote-unquote farming on Blur seems to be more normalized. Last but not least, Gemesis, the free claim that Opensea gave to people that used the gem product that they acquired, it finally revealed yesterday, and only 0.1% of the total collection has rarity outside of quote-unquote community, which is what you got, which was the most common by far. So people, I guess, are looking at this as a bit of a misstep. Do we have a new number 1? I know what Spencer thinks, but I'd love to know what everybody thinks.
It's been number 1. Anyone who wants to move any sort of size or make quick action, there's better floor prices on it. The only thing is rough is like taking bids, because Blur definitely has an upcharge on accepting bids. Regardless of what people want to say, for whatever reason, their contract is not as efficient. It ends up being a little bit more expensive than if you accept a bid on Opensea or even Opensea Pro. And it's actually why you still see X2, Y2 sales, because the gas fees there are even lower. No fees on anything from Marketplace or royalties, so it basically just gives you an easier opportunity. But I think Blur is like clearly the marketplace right now, and if they made like a Blur Lite version that's better for general consumers, it would only increase their adoption rate. What's most interesting to me though is in the next how many days are in April? 30? The next 12 days, 11 days, the X2 points, so the 2x points are over, which I think will actually see a slight cascading effect in downward price action, just because bid walls won't be as strong. But I do think that we're actually going to see a pretty gnarly rebound back to the upside, because you're going to have more people with smaller wallet balances feeling comfortable participating, not getting dumped on by whales earning 2 times the points. So I think there's going to be this really interesting dynamic that goes on where we actually see more liquidity over an extended period of time flow back into Blur.
Oh boy, Spencer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like. Is this even still a question? Like, Blur's been the market leader since like January. Like, I just don't know what to tell you, PO. Like, people just didn't believe it. Like, this is the thing, is like there. It's part of the adoption curve where everyone's like, like nah, like Blur, like like it's going away, right? And it's just not. It's just like you just get paid to use it, and so obviously people will use it. It's really just that simple. And this is the question of like. OpenSea even has started to understand that, which is why they did Genesis, but they did it in such a dumb way that like it doesn't like. Does Genesis feel like you're getting paid to use OpenSea? No, not at all. Right? You did $1 million in volume on OpenSea. Like actually on OpenSea you got Jack, you got nothing at all, right? But you did $1 million in volume on Gem, and you got like a $90 thing. You did $1 million on Blur. You got like you got like $250,000 of tokens. Like, it's just not close. Like, why would you ever use OpenSea in today's age, except if you're trading 1155 contracts, like the good old Nifty portal is only available on OpenSea. Shout out Nifty portal. Shout out
Not for long.
1155 contracts. Shout out a possible migration off 1155 contract. Is that what you're saying, Pio?
Not for long. I mean, you guys know what's up. You know what's going to come down the pipe. So look, so what's the reality of what happened here? That's what I want to talk about when it comes to OpenSea versus Blur. To me, when I listened to what Easy said, what Spencer said, these volume numbers, the overall sentiment of the market, and please correct me if I'm way out to lunch, if I'm wrong about this. I'm ready to be totally wrong. But what I see is OpenSea was very early. There was obviously some sort of competency to be able to build the #1 marketplace for several years. There was also enough competency to make it scalable enough that during the 2021-2022 NFT bull run, where so many people came into the space, so much liquidity, so much volume, OpenSea was able to largely handle it. Obviously, there were failures. OpenSea was down at times, but they outperformed everyone else. I came from Nifty Gateway, as Kicks did too. Nifty Gateway was a shit show. It was just a shit show as volume increased, both from a just general website being up perspective. I don't know what you call that. I'm not a software engineer. And then also from a feature perspective, people were like, these features need to be improved. And there was just no improvement for a long time. OpenSea then got fat and happy. And I think people talked about OpenSea keeping their entire balance sheet in Ethereum or something like that. And then Ethereum pulls back by 60+%. So that's a different conversation, right? So that's the OpenSea side. Then on the Blur side, this kid Pac-Man's a 24-year-old, one of these kind of prodigy type people. He dropped out of high school when he was like 17, is my understanding, to go and be a software engineer full-time for a San Francisco startup. After that, he went to MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which is like a top university in the world. Dropped out of that.
What's MIT?
There you go, Nick. It's a top university. Anyway, or a top institute. I don't know what you want to call it. And then he ended up going and founding a Y Combinator startup. And then now he's doing this, and he's like 24 years old, and he's kicking the behemoth of the space's ass. Am I right about that? Am I wrong about all that? Like, where was I wrong?
I didn't even know he was a double dropout. That's super bullish. To drop out of high school and then get accepted to MIT is massive. And like as Spencer said, like you're getting paid to use it, but also like I'm pretty sure when you used LooksRare, you got paid to use it. For me, I think they like improve that model just with the amount of liquidity and how easy it is to use. I mean, easy's like spot on. I use Blur whenever I'm buying or selling something, unless it's restricted on Blur, just by default. That never happened to me with LooksRare. I don't know if it was the UI, I don't know if it was the liquidity, but like for some reason, I never used LooksRare more than I used OpenSea. But ever since Blur's been out, I always use Blur instead of OpenSea. I think Spencer would probably say it's the liquidity. I think that's probably right. It's also the point farming. Like it's what he said. I get paid to use it. So I'll hop on there. I'll list something. I'll sell something. But I haven't even opened OpenSea Pro. I haven't even opened it. I don't even know what it looks like. But I use Blur for everything unless it's locked.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing too about like what's going on here is Opensea was so early. Opensea existed before the market really existed, and that's why it was just de facto, right? It's not like this.
December 20th, 2017, Opensea was founded.
Yeah. So like Opensea was just around for a while. It was an incumbent, and this market spun up so fast that it just had first mover advantage, and people couldn't catch up for the longest time. I think LooksRare's mistake was having a 2% fee, right? Like you have to understand the whole LooksRare thing was all about like you stake the token and you earn like the fee as a reward. And so they needed a really high fee, right? Like their innovation was taking the OpenSea fee from 2.5% to 2%, right? Like that was their innovation. Blur took it from 2.5% to 0%. And not only did they do that, but they also cut the creator royalties, right? And so you took it from like 7 to 10% transaction fees to 0% transaction fees.
Yep.
It eclipsed OpenSea in volume doing that. And then it started paying everybody to use it. And
well, and also, Spencer, another thing that you just said right there, like to get the advantage out of LooksRare, you had to have LooksRare and then you had to stake it, right? With Blur, I don't have to do anything to start earning points. I just have to start trading and I'm earning points. It's frictionless. It's frictionless for me to start.
Okay. I mean, you earned tokens on LooksRare from trading, right? You didn't have to
stake it. So not even staking.
So the way that works,
every transaction, right? Every buy, every sell, you got
every
tokens?
buy, every sell, eventually every listing too. They sort of innovated the listing thing.
They weren't doing it, but you're saying the big difference, of course, is just, and that's why I do trade on Blur, because it's like 0.5% fees instead of 7%.
But this is worth mentioning. So like the LooksRare token, what it does is it earns you revenue. Like if you stake the token, you get a percentage of their 2% fee that's distributed, right?
Right.
I think this is an interesting case study because everyone's like, oh, what does the token do? What does the token do? Well, I'll tell you, the Blur token does fuck all, but it's worth way more than the LooksRare token, even though the LooksRare token generates is literally a revenue share from the protocol. This is like very interesting because the Blur token like does not do anything, but it is exchange listed. And the problem is LooksRare can't get exchange listed because it's so explicitly a security.
Okay, and one question, is LooksRare a squeaky clean 1000% above board?
There was a lot of things. So like the FUD towards LooksRare always was that they would initially blendered out like all of their cash. Like it's a rug. I don't think it's a hard rug like that. Like I think it's reasonable that they may have sent it out in order to pay their devs from undoxed wallets, but like, do we think of that differently from someone just sending all their money to like a KYC exchange, right? It just is as a way to obscure it. Like the thing was they weren't banked, right? And so you see this a lot more than you think. I would say like I don't think that it's a rug. They did screw a bunch of people over on their day one tokens because there were discrepancies in their documentation about when the token rewards started. So there were a lot of people, myself included, who got totally screwed out of a significant amount of rewards by their team, and they have not ever responded to messages about this. So that is a frustrating thing about them. But in general, I think they're mostly above board. It turns out half a percentage point difference like wasn't enough.
Will they exist in 2 years?
LooksRare? I mean, maybe. But will they update their protocol? Like, I don't know.
Hard to say. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, this, of course, the NFT Morning Show. We run this Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. We are going to talk the Gary Gensler hearing and PEPE meme token, shitcoin season. Definitely pumping. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for today's show, Bicycle Playing Cards. That's right. The 138-year-old brand, Bicycle Playing Cards. If you have a deck of cards in your house, you probably know this brand. They are hard at work creating new cards for their Bored Ape Yacht Club community deck. So I talked about it earlier. This is a collab with Bored Ape Yacht Club. They acquired an ape. The PFP on Twitter right now is an ape. So if you go to bicyclecards.com/callingallapes, you can sign up for updates on the pre-order. and take an early look at the 1227 merchandise featuring the original artwork. So without further ado, I got to read out the list of the apes that made the deck. So I'm sure there's some apes listening and they want to know if they've made the deck. I'm about to read out a bunch of numbers. 99.93, 65.74, 379, 48.80, 12.87, and 57.58. Those are the numbers of the Bored Apes that made the deck. I got one more list that we're going to read later in the show. We have a tweet pinned to the top that you can check out if you want to see the Bicycle Cards collab with Bored Ape Yacht Club. Shout out to Bicycle Cards for sponsoring today's show. We have a free NFT we're going to be giving away a little bit later that is inspired by Bicycle Cards. So look, moving on to the Gary Gensler hearing. It was all over the timeline. Gary Gensler is the SEC chairman. I think it's safe to describe this hearing as a dumpster fire. I definitely think that is a fair, adjective to describe this.
Neil, what was your favorite line from it? Because I got like a book of ones that I just loved. My personal favorite, I've never traded cryptocurrency, but I've led classes and education sessions on it.
I mean, honestly, Easy, like I know you want me to like have a laugh about this and stuff, but I'm just so bothered by the whole thing. I just really am, because I don't like dinosaur government. I just don't like that. It's like a really big sticking point for me. And it's just weird to me that you have like Janet Yellen and fucking, Gary Gensler over here actually having positions of power in this modern world. And it's just weird, but I don't know. Look, you can break down what you saw. I'd love to hear it. I think it's safe to say that Gensler's days are numbered at this point.
I mean, shout out the Montana congressman from Montana who's just straight up like, I'm introducing legislation to get you removed. Like, clearly what you've done is be just terrible for whatever it is, and you have a bias, and that's not okay. Because on top of it, right before that hearing, Algo, the popular cryptocurrency, was marked as a security. And a video went absolutely viral of Gary Gensler on stage shilling Algo, like heavily shilling it, and only for it to then get marked as a security. And then on top of it yesterday, when asked directly under oath, do you think Ethereum is a commodity or a security? His response was, it depends. Like, that was one of the most ludicrous responses I could have ever heard in my entire life. Like, clearly you have zero understanding of what's going on. And I'm in the exact same boat as you when it comes to people who have zero idea about technology in general, leading something that is going to have a cause and effect for literal generations. Like, even if this stems all the way back to when you had the Senate hearings and Congress hearings about like the Facebook and Googles, and people were asking Zuckerberg about Google, and he's like, listen, like, that's not us. Like, clearly there's a huge lack of understanding. And that's like, that just shows you, if they can't understand that, they have zero concept of what's going on in crypto, DeFi, and everything else, which we interact with daily. And there's a lot of people, even in Congress and Senate, who have a hand in it and who have actually participated that don't even hold anywhere near as much power as somebody like this. Like, and that was my big like takeaway from it. And part of it was just like, you almost have to laugh at it, as bad as it is, because it was so ridiculous to hear the responses from Gensler on 99% of it. Like, he got torched. And I think rightfully so. Like, when you have such a strong stance on something and you don't have any general understanding of it, that's a massive concern, because like you will have a cause and effect on an industry that you don't understand. And that affects a ton of people.
I love the breakdown. I want to hear from Spencer on this too. Nick has his hand raised. We'll go to Nick, and then I let Shark on stage. Love having Shark on the show. Nick, what's going on?
Look, I just want to take the counter position here. I think Gary Gensler is a great guy, and he takes on a lot of heat, man. And, this guy, he's just out there trying to protect consumers. And, I think that it's just that, like, it's time that we recognize that, like, this man's been out here working for many, many years. Like, this guy's he's not 27. He's not 35. He's got to be older than 40. He may even be in his 50s. And I just think from that standpoint, you got to give credit to the man for just working, for doing his job. And I think that that's something that we need to just give credit for. He's just taking on way too much heat, guys. And, it's difficult to stand up there or sit up there and answer questions it's a very stressful situation. So did he have some stumbles? Did he make some smirks here and there, which felt sort of condescending, yet inappropriate? Yes. but like, it's just a tough job. So that's just the position that I wanted to take. I just wanted to give a little bit of a counter.
I respect Nick's position because they're similar in age. So I think it makes a lot of sense to hear the understanding here.
Yeah. Spencer, go ahead.
So the thing that I want to take away from it, though, is like we all know Gary has been problematic for this industry, right? Like this is the whole thing of like having a U.S. crypto company is like, we're just going to serve Wells notices. And like, what are the rules? Well, the rules are obvious. Well, what are they? They're obvious, right? Like this has been the whole thing for so long. The thing that was more interesting to me was actually the level of education that some of the people asking the questions had about the questions you ask. And that is really interesting and exciting to see. And one thematic thing that I'm noticing going into this election cycle for the presidential race is the degree to which we have seen, like almost overnight, crypto become a partisan issue, right? It's almost exclusively Republican officials that were asking these really smart questions. I think we see an alignment right now of Democratic Party being anti-crypto, Republican Party being pro-crypto.
Yep.
And this is sort of new because I don't usually think of crypto as being like a very clean-cut partisan issue. Especially it wasn't when SBF was doling out the big bucks to our boys in Washington.
Yeah, come on now. SBF knew what was up, huh?
Suddenly we're the whole Dem Party anti-crypto, Funny how that works with in this here country, this here fine Republica, we got. But like, I don't know. That was the big takeaway for me was I found yesterday very bullish for crypto. And I know that sounds weird because everyone's like, oh, like Gary sucks. And like he showed his cards and he's so bad. Well, yeah, it just seemed like people were done with his shit. Right. And like those people happen to be in power, which is great. So we have people in power done with his shit, people in power that understand what like maybe should happen here. And the best one was, and I forget who it was that said this, but there was a discussion about the degree to which the policies by the SEC in the United States are driving innovation offshore. And the rhetoric that I was very interested in was specifically the rhetoric around driving innovation offshore to China, right? And so this is like, you can talk a lot about the xenophobic language of China, but when the Republican Party thinks that an issue is a China issue, it tends to unify them, right? And this has been like a very, like if they're like, okay, we need to have national interest that crypto stays in America because if it doesn't, it goes to China, which I genuinely think like of all the like conspiracy tinfoil hat, like maybe xenophobic things that the Republican Party has said about this, like this is one of the more reasonable ones where like, yes, like, I think that there is room for foreign like control of crypto, whereas the US could just be the superpower here, right? And it should be, and it like started off as being such. And so like, I think that there is the potential for a good regime change.
Wow, bringing in the Russians too. I love it. USSR stuff. We got Shark on stage, ladies and gentlemen. Shark is a friend of the show, a savvy trader, and someone that you'd be hard pressed to beat when it comes to having ordinals exposure, Bitcoin ordinals. He's got some serious ordinals provenance. Shark, what's going on, amigo?
What's going on, Pio? Great to see you in New York. And yeah, I watched the whole hearing yesterday, and I definitely echo a little bit of what Spencer's saying. Like, I think it is bullish in the long term, just kind of exposing just how unorganized kind of it really does seem like Gensler is making rules. I mean, there was one line of questioning where he was pretty much saying that people should be aware of his publicly made comments, just as an official speaking. He definitely seems like he kind of outgrew his position or his authority there. But I think the biggest takeaway I got actually wasn't from a question someone asked. A congresswoman had some extra time and gave it to Gary.
Yep.
And he actually took the floor and just, unsolicited, explained that he thought the banks going down, I think he said 3 or 4 banks having issues in 1 week. And he actually put his fingers up, put it like in air quotes. He said that these were considered crypto banks by some. And he actually talked about the stablecoin DPEG. And this was all unsolicited, right? It wasn't a line of questioning. So that shows me that his agenda going there today, or going to Congress, at least partly, was to kind of blame crypto for these banks. And it kind of makes sense if you're going to introduce some type of crazy legislation to restrict some of that activity. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think the Republicans, or at least Congress, is starting to see, with the limited public comment period on a lot of his rulemaking, especially compared to previous people who ran the SEC, it looks like Gary is definitely taking advantage of some of his power, and it's becoming clearer. And, I like Coinbase really putting the political pressure on them, saying like, hey, we're going to move out of the US if we don't get clear regulations. I think it's a war. I think more companies need to follow Coinbase's lead and really just say like, if you're in crypto, we all know this is kind of the future. This is our bet. I want to continue to live in the US, but unfortunately, there's way more regulatory clarity. And I think if you're a serious trader or you're serious in crypto just working, like you really are considering leaving the US these days. And that's pretty sad for a country. So I'm hoping that this election cycle could bring some changes. And yeah, but at least people are talking about it. I'm hoping that people just watched that and got curious about crypto. And just that he couldn't answer if ETH was a security or a commodity. It's like, now when you're in court, how can the judge really like enforce or have a really clear opinion? It just seems like the issue's so clouded. And yeah, that's my takeaway. Kind of more questions than answers, but seems like it's going in somewhat of a positive direction.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that one section, it was when Joyce Beatty basically gave her time to Gensler, and he just proactively blames crypto for the crash of those banks. Yesterday, we have the CEO of the Blockchain Association, Kristen Smith, on the Bitcoin Show, which we do on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. And so basically, the Blockchain Association is a Washington, D.C. based trade association that basically, and Kristen herself serves as a liaison between policymakers and the crypto industry. So it was like very timely to have her on the show yesterday. And I'd say the biggest quote from that I took away was she said that we need to survive as an industry for another 20 months. And I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, she's basically, pointing to the next election. The funny thing was at the very end of the show, someone came on stage that went really hard, basically bashing Democrats and promoting Republicans. Like, that's why he came on stage, was to just basically be like, vote Republican. And I like cut him off, because I was like, uh-oh, like we're getting like wicked political here. And after I cut him off, Kristen just comes in and she's like, I agree with you. So I was like, oh, okay. Like that was a good close to the show. So where crypto people stand, including those that are liaisons between crypto and the government. So look, that's kind of all we need to talk about for. Oh, Signal, please. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was going to say I'm really on the same page as ZK here and Spencer in terms of this being as ZK said, like a war whereby each state, each sort of side has to decide whether, do companies like Coinbase move to Europe or, even to Asia or somewhere else? Do companies like Circle move to Europe as well? But I think the Achilles heel here is the fact that it is a political issue in the US. I think that's a real Achilles heel, whereby the message which is being transmitted is not that blockchain technology, Web3, is essentially the frontier which will build new economies and generate more growth, etc. What I'm concerned about is that is a question of the Republicans represent crypto and the Democrats don't, therefore choose your side. And so that's why I think it could be an Achilles heel for the US in terms of like, if this is only a political issue, then this might actually go backwards because it's not really the topic of discussion. Not sure if I'm really making myself clear here, but like in Europe, we don't discuss crypto in political terms as much as in the US. And that's why I see it as an Achilles heel in terms of where the discussions could end up.
Good perspective over from Europe, Signal. Shark, you raise your hand. Something to close with?
Yeah, I said real quickly while we're on stage, I think if anyone has any information about a potential Gary Gensler wallet, he is on oath saying he never owned crypto or Bitcoin. And he also said his friend is the guy that started Algo. So, and he was a blockchain professor at MIT. So if crypto could unite for one cause, is to find Gary Gensler's wallet and have Zach drop a thread on it.
I was going to say, I'm sure Zach XBT is like, you don't have to do that bit signal right here, Shark. I'm sure Zach XBT is already on it. Look, we got the PEPE coin that has, I saw a tweet that someone put 0.05 Ethereum into the PEPE coin or 0.1 Ethereum into the PEPE coin like 6 days ago, and it turned into $450,000. I did not
1.3 million illiquid. They could sell it, market order, dump it for $670K.
Good God.
So yeah, the other one I saw was somebody put 0.016 in and got 14 ETH liquid out. Yeah, so like if you actually look at the chart, it like had like almost a week of inactivity and then just went parabolic. So you got a lot of people on the timeline talking about it, excited about it. That Wojak is the other one. So like the internet memes, and then Chad coin are like the big three that I continue to see. There's now been like 6 iterations of Chad. I actually bought into Gensler coin yesterday and got rugged 39 seconds after buying it. I was the very last buy before they withdrew all their liquidity, which it was like timely. It was like the most timely thing ever. I literally tweeted about it. I was like, wow, I should have known. Literally got rugged by Gary before he went in front of Senate.
I got to get the sound clip, one of my favorite sound clips ever, which is that the Squid Game guy. I don't even know who this guy is. The one that's like, oh, it went to 0. I got to get that one for situations like this. Spencer, I think you said that Spencer Ventures would entertain shitcoin trading. Am I correct about that?
Like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not ruling it out. We actually we had a small PEPE bag at the end. I was like, probably we won't do it, but then I was like, I don't know. And we're down in USD but up in ETH. So we swapped some ETH there, but ETH is down a bunch today. So you know, it worked out. We went from like 0.2 ETH to 0.25 ETH. Pretty good trade, you know, one day. But
pretty good.
Yeah, but in US dollars, we went down. So you know, it's all relative, right? As is life. But I was just feeling the FOMO a little bit. So we aped just at small size.
Okay. Easy. How do you find out about this stuff? How does one find out about PEPE coin?
It's like Telegram groups and stuff. Like from the old like 16 to 18 run with crypto, it was all Telegram groups. Like everybody interacted on Telegram. That was where a lot of this like kind of started. And PEPE, a lot of people speculate it's actually a Milady coin. So our friends over there. And yeah, so no bad words about them. They're great, you know. But that's the thing. It's a lot of people speculating like some form of insider aspect that's kind of just gaining traction on it and taking over the memes. Like really trying to become like the new sheep, the new Doge is what people are comparing them to. But they usually start in Telegram groups where someone will post it. You have people like bots that are watching token launches. And then there's even websites to confirm that like the main address can't withdraw liquidity. It's locked, or the authority wallet's changed to like a burn address so nobody has access to it, that there's no wallets that hold over 5% so they can't actually dump it on you. There's a bunch of things that people have created to actually like check to make sure you're not about to get wrecked. Should have used it yesterday and I didn't, but it's what it is, you know. So mostly Telegram, and then it spreads to Twitter, and usually it's people who are just hyperactive watching that. I mean, even Discord has bots to track like new contract launches for tokens.
And Clemente, you wanted to chime in?
Yeah, the biggest thing that what this is showing, at least myself, within the kind of meme coin or shitcoin season, I think it's more of just the lack of activity or excitement that there is around NFTs right now, right? It's like last week we were talking about outlaws. We're like, hey, this thing's at 0.2 ETH. Where does it go from here? It's at 0.02 right now, right? And it's like Trump digital card season 2, like, oh, whoa, what's going to happen there? That went up to like $175, and now it's back down. So I think it's more so just like we're kind of just sitting on our hands waiting for Frank to spin something up, or Luca to announce something new, or Bored Ape Yacht Club to come out with something that's going to get us excited again. But it's just like you're looking at the next 2 weeks, 4 weeks, the rest of the month, and you're like, what are we? There's nothing really that we're waiting for here. And there's just a lack of overall participants in the ecosystem right now.
Well, but like, is that true? Like, I don't know. Like, we have upcoming stuff on the Yuga ecosystem roadmaps, right? Like, I think there's heavy metal things coming soon. Cool Cats, like, I think they're at this point their toy launch is in like a week or 2 weeks. It's very soon. Like their national toy launch, which, you know, rumor has is going to like very large retailers in the US, potentially like super big, right?
Like Walmart.
I don't know if Walmart, I know that there's complications. Like the thing with Walmart, and I've heard this from a couple of CPG brands, has been that like, if you go into Walmart and it does well, you need to be able to size up your order really quickly or they drop you. So I wouldn't be surprised. I would be a little bit surprised if it was Walmart day one. They definitely have access to Walmart, but I think we'll see some other retailers first, because like there's this curse of if you do too well in Walmart, they're like, all right, like next week we need like 50 million pallets.
Yeah. Like a 100 or like 1,000x on order size immediately.
Yeah. So we'll see, but I wouldn't be shocked if like, I don't know, something like where they were placed. So there was one place that stocked it early, which was in like New Zealand, and it's a company that's owned by GameStop. So I'm guessing that GameStop at least is going to be a launch partner with them, and that's a pretty cool place to have the toys placed. You know, we saw the other group who did toys was VFriends, and VFriends placed them in Macy's, if I remember.
Toys R Us.
Toys R Us, which I thought Toys R Us was bankrupt. I don't know.
I think they got like acquired by Macy's or something. There's one in my neighborhood, and I think it's in a Macy's.
Okay, so yeah, so like we'll just see. We'll see how this all plays out. But there are catalysts. The thing is, and Clemente, I agree with you, is that the question is, do these catalysts feel interesting? And the challenge in this market has been a lot of people have made announcements and just like nobody cares, right? And so this is the thing is like, are we going to have price impactful announcements? I don't know, right? The other thing is like, I feel like we are overdue for a new collection that goes like and does well, right? Like Pudgies and Utes and D-Gods are like kind of the only breakout collections in the last unit of time. But when was the last time there was a mint that just like cooked off mint and continued to do well, right? We had Nakamigos, but that's like not a real project. We had, people are gonna hate me for saying that. We had like, we've had like Ranga pumped to like 2, right? That was like kind of there, right? Notice both of those are like pseudo like 10K TF shills, right? And like, when was the last like Valhalla? But Valhalla also never really made it above 2. What?
Checks
was probably the last like real cook we had.
This is a good conversation though, because it's like, what is next? Like, I think like you do have some like tomorrow's actually a pretty big day for like Sol and ETH and even Polygon. I mean, you have Killer Cubs dropping their secondary collection, or Killer Bears, which has a decent amount of hype, some speculation on the mint price. You have Play Wildcard. Yeah, expensive.
Even the price.
But if you bring it up on the timeline, those holders go wild at you. It's impressive. Like, honestly, and like the one, and I talked about this a little bit earlier too. What's interesting to me about it is like Killer Bears was a free mint, and a lot of them hold their Pixel Bears and Killer Bears in droves. Like, they have multiple. So is it really going to shock you if they end up holding these that they get for free just because they love the community and maybe recoup some? That's what I'm going to be watching that mint. We also have Wildcard tomorrow, which is like, it's a Paradigm project on Polygon. It's got a lot of people excited. And then Mad Lads,
former sponsor.
Yeah. And I mean, I genuinely am excited for that. Like, the gameplay is fun and the backing, I don't want to fade. And then on Sol, you have Mad Lads, which is like one of the most used wallets. So like, there are some big mints coming up, but to Spencer's point, there's nothing that's like right now in the next 30 days, people are like, this is going to be the one, you know?
Yeah, no, I think it's you guys are spot on. It's tough to say, but we will see at least what Bored Ape Yacht Club does, and if it moves the needle at all. Look, we got our sponsor, Bicycle Cards, that sponsored today's show. We're absolutely jazzed up that they did. We know you're on the edge of your seats because we got the final round of selected apes for the collab. So I'm going to read these numbers: 5,009, 3,083, 5137, 5732, 1169, and 3410. Those are the last apes that are going to join the Bicycle Playing Cards family. If you head over to bicyclecards.com/callingallapes, you can learn more and pre-order the collab pack between Bicycle Cards and Bored Ape Yacht Club. Bicycle Cards, of course, the 138-year-old brand. If you follow Bicycle Cards on Twitter, you can take a look at their debut Joker card. And in honor of them as our sponsor, we have a free NFT at thenifty.com. So if you go to the nifty.com/claim, and I'm sure Clemente will have it on screen too to show the kind of reveal process for those that are watching on YouTube, the nifty.com/claim with password cards12, all lowercase, CARDS, and then the number 12 for today's free NFT on the nifty.com. It's one of my personal favorites without question. I just saw Mr. Yellow commented that he feels that it's his favorite free NFT yet. I could totally see that because in my opinion, it absolutely kicks ass. Yeah, I love it. It's Buddy doing a magic trick. He's got his magician outfit on. Love to see it. Anyway, shout out to Bicycle Cards for sponsoring today's show. Go to the nifty.com/claim and put in the code cards12 to get that free NFT. Beyond that, check out the Bicycle Cards collab with Bored Ape Yacht Club at bicyclecards.com/callingallapes. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. We run the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern time, each and every week, where we discuss all things NFTs, crypto, technology, entertainment, gaming, finance, and just about everything in between. We will be back tomorrow. The show is also available on every podcast platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you ever want to tune in for the video feed of the live show, you can check it out at the NFT Morning Show's YouTube channel. Anyway, we will be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern time. We appreciate everybody listening. Hope you enjoy the free NFT. And one last shout out to Bicycle Cards, today's sponsor. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening, everyone.